into the shadows on Hot Talk Radio's horror broadcast, where screams linger and fears are vast. If you're brave, lend an ear to the chilling tales we steer. Join us, night spirits, for Halloween updates premiere.
Hello, good morning. It is a fabulous Sunday, 9 a.m. recording here with two special guests. It's time to get ready and enjoy the day. This is Bill, Park Talk Radio, your premier theme park podcast coming out of Central Florida. Be sure to follow us on all social medias at Park Talk Radio, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok especially. We got some excellent reels, snaps, shorts, and all the good stuff there. Be sure to also leave us a voicemail or text message, 407-490-2220. You can also leave us an email, parktalkradio@gmail.com. And be sure to like, subscribe, share, and engage. Cost you nothing, and we truly appreciate it. We're going to jump right in today, introduce our guests. First up, a returnee. She's been great. She takes care of the social media, because I don't know how. We got Brennan co-hosting in Chair 2 today. How we doing, Bren?
Hey everyone, happy Sunday.
That's right. And longtime podcaster, one of the greats in Central Florida, being our guest today. At one time, third best podcast in Orlando, Voicemail King. We have Fisher here with us. What's up, buddy?
So many titles. Did you crack a Fanta? Is it Fanta or Fanta?
I don't want a haunt.
Stroll over to the Fanta bar and crack yourself one open.
No. We have a previous sponsor of a defunct podcast, Hop Tonics from Tactical.
Oh, love me some Tactical.
That's right. Oh my god, took my voice away immediately.
My water tastes like beer.
I hate sours. Or is it? I hate lagers.
I only like lagers and
I only like lagers.
God,
that's
straight
right.
3, Bill.
All right, well, do you guys just want to do it? I can go back to bed.
We got this.
I'm very sleepy. No, we got Bren back. Dave is out there saving the world from that big hurricane. Hope all our Central Florida and all Florida and exterior states are okay and safe from that. If you're still okay, still have internet connection, Brennan put out an excellent hurricane storm survival TikTok that'll help you brave the parks, especially Horror Nights, when it's raining and storming out. And that's why we got these wonderful guests today. And we got Fisher on because he's been going to Horror Nights a long time. A very long time. Almost.
Or most of you were born.
Since the beginning, almost. And we're going to talk some Horror Nights today. I wanted to get his opinion, get Brennan's opinion, and give a little update as we get into October. Basically October. The back half of the event is about to ramp up. And our actors are working hard. The guests are unruly. And we need to get a little update on where we're at. First up, pros a little question. There was a recent announcement from USA Sci-Fi that the Chucky series has been canceled. And we had the Chucky house last year. There's a Chucky show in Hollywood. Does that mean anything to you as far as Chucky content at Halloween Horror Nights going forward?
Probably. It probably means we're not going to get much more of that Chucky style, I think.
Chucky style. That's how I like it.
Chucky style.
Meaning
the house last
the
year was
TV
based on the
series
show.
presentation of them.
I think in Hollywood right now there's that like Chucky area,
It's
like
late
a
night
Chucky
with
bar
the
or something.
Chuck.
Yeah, I think that's kind of based off that. No, that is based off the TV show also. In season 2, he had there's a joke scene where he had like a late night talk show.
Oh,
but
never seen it.
yeah, I don't think there was a wrestler on that. I think I showed you that.
No, who was it?
I don't know, a female WWE person was on it.
I think Liv Morgan.
Yeah, but so I don't think we're gonna get that kind of stuff anymore. Only because Peacock, they'll still have the rights to it, of course, because it's theirs, but it's not ongoing. So why would they? And I think that the series ended on a cliffhanger too. Like season 2 ended on a cliffhanger, so that kind of stinks.
Well, season 3 wrapped
season
up.
Season 3 ended on a cliffhanger.
Chucky was president.
Something like that. I don't know.
Do you care about Chucky Fisher? Do you like him as a character or as a piece of not a piece of Horror Nights? He doesn't get to say fuck, so there's a problem.
Well, I like it when he's used in like an insult way. If they're putting him in a booth somewhere and more improvising it, that he can yell at unruly teenagers as they walk by him. But other than that, no. I mean, I think that was easily in HHN 32 in Orlando everyone's least favorite house of the year. So with it now going away, I don't think there's any need for them to continue to advertise for it. So bye-bye for a while.
Oh, poor Chuck. I like him. I like him.
Good riddance.
No. Well, if
just
they do,
like the popcorn buckets.
I don't like them. I don't care about the bucket. It's $50 popcorn bucket. It's not that good. And he doesn't do a little projection like our Lord and Savior, Little Boo. He has a projection out of his pumpkin butt on the new bucket.
I didn't know that.
Projection booty.
That's right. All right, well, I guess Chuck's getting the boot here on PTR. No need for him to come back. Unless, as mentioned, the Insult Emporium is great. I prefer them to do it in a horror makeup or the Bourne setting instead of on the street like we did a number of years ago. Probably let them be a bit more candid and have some sort of script instead of every 5 minutes cursing Damballa and having lightning effects in the street. There's
the area now that was Wolfman that's now just staging for a photo op, I believe. Walked by that the other night. And then there's are people utilizing the HHN bar area in the back where the characters are staged? Have you all seen people actually?
Yeah, people do.
The HHN bar?
The HHN bar.
My favorite font on that sign.
Oh.
People do actually use that. I've used it.
The bar or the photo op?
The photo op behind it. I expected there to be more crowds in that area, but it hasn't seemed like it's brought a lot of people back there.
They have the same 4 original characters, and they're not terribly enticing. That's no fault of the actor. That's a really tough spot to be in for 45-minute sets.
Oh, wow. They're doing 45s.
I would have to imagine. I would lose my mind if I had to be on that little stage.
So it's Mistreats. It's one of the Hell. What's the movie from Slaughter?
Heavy Metal
Hell.
3D.
A goblin and the baby stealer from Monstros. Those are the 4 that I've seen.
The bird one is also out there sometimes.
I think that's on the other cast.
Yeah, there's like 2 casts.
It's the same houses though. They don't change the houses out.
Yeah.
So representation from Sweets, Cinema, Monstros, and Goblins.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Sweets rotates between Mistreats and one of the
kid with the
candy crazed kids.
Yeah, one of the kids.
Yeah.
Mistreats is awesome.
Mistreats is awesome.
Love her.
And with that, last week and teased on episode 34, I did have the opportunity from a great, generous individual, ZJ, to go on a 6-house Unmasking the Horror tour, which, if you don't know, that is where you get to go during the day through several houses pre-picked by Universal with lights on, a well-educated and taught tour guide, and you go through each of those houses. You get a bit more of the backstory. You get to take a different thing this year, limited number of pictures, or have the opportunity to see everything without the lights on, the sounds off, and just get a very intimate, small tour through each house, with each house taking anywhere between 30 to 50 minutes of your time. And we did go through Major Sweets Candy Factory as one of the houses. What's the name of the house? I am having difficulty recalling and recanting anything in recent years. What's the Major Sweets house called?
Major Sweets Candy Factory.
Oh, is that really it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you just said it.
Well, we got to go through that one, and there wasn't a whole lot to that particular backstory. It's more so they really, really focused on talking about the Scare Zone from a number of years ago, and why this Scare Zone really inspired and made this house possible, which of course, but the house is a prequel to the Scare Zone where it takes place a week before, and a lot of the backstory was, well, this house makes absolutely 0 sense. And I love how candid the VIP tour guides were through the Unmasking the Horror tour. We're like, yeah, this house makes no sense. Unless you know about the Scare Zone, which means you have to go back a number of years and listen to this old podcast, and you know why Major Sweets is crazy and fucked up as he is. And with that, mistreats is why he is the way he is. Mistreats, it's alluded that she kills his parents. And so because of that, he wants to make candy because his parents were killed in a movie theater and there was only candy and poison in the back of the house. Very convoluted. Very good house, though. We'll get to the house rankings here in a little bit. I want to go a little bit through these other houses during the tour, though.
But as you're walking up, though, they treat you like you are a chaperone for a field
that's the
trip.
storyline for this.
Okay.
That's really the only other piece of lore behind the Major Sweets Candy Factory is you're taking these kids here, and he's inviting the kids in to test the candy. And if you notice when you're walking in, you'll see, or in the second, you'll have mistreats come out and say, "Yep, come on in, come join the candy tour." And then in the second scene, you're walking into Major Sweets' office, where they have the projector screen. On your left, you'll see a big entryway where it says tour starts here or something about tour. And a guy in a suit comes out screaming, "It's the candy! You gotta get out of here."
Yep.
That's where you're getting separated. The kids are going on the tour and Major Sweets is pulling you away from them so he can load them up on this sugar.
Gotcha.
And when you're in his office, you'll see a chalkboard. And the chalkboard has the detailed outline of the New York City streets, and there's little signs that say arcade, pizza shop, pretzel shop, coffee bar, being, the Mummy, Arcade, Louis, Auntie Anne, Starbucks, and Finnegan's, and it has the outline of the parade that he's about to enact.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Never would have picked up on that.
Yeah, I never noticed either because you have Major Sweets and Twisty in there busting out of the projector screen. And he's taking you away from the kids so he can get them going to test the candy. And there's also, inside Mistreat's room, the very first scene, there's a to-do list, and it says, "Get rid of the health inspector." And he is the guy that's puking in the barrel. Major Sweets is aptly taken care of the health inspector.
Is it Twisty or Taffy? What's
or
the character?
Taffy, sorry.
Taffy.
Okay. So they gave the lore to Mistreats on why she's there. Taffy is a dock worker that just looks away from Major Sweets' criminal activities. He's also deformed. and Major Sweets was the only guy that was ever nice to Taffy. That's why he works for him. Monstros, the one takeaway I wanted to go through on that was you'll see cell phones and, of course, the obvious Ring doorbell. That's only to show that it's modern day. That was the reasoning for that.
I pushed it the other night. Nothing happened.
No,
I kind of wish it was
bum.
interactive. Like it did something.
That's only in Major Sweets do you have those. The GATS, the guest activated trigger.
One wasn't working the other night. Take the candy one wasn't working.
Don't take the candy. So that was Monstros. We went through Goblin's Feast. My one big note there, if you recall, a number of years ago, not too long, but 2 or 3 years ago, they had a summer tribute store like they do now, but this one was also going over the classics, which was Back to the Future, King Kong. There was a Jaws room and one other one, but they recreated the old Confrontation photo op where they had the big Kong hand and you could stand in it for a photo. It was a large physical prop. They repurposed that Kong hand to be in Goblin's Feast, and that's the big hand that's moving at you, I believe, in this third scene when you're walking through the forest. It's the big Kong hand from the summer tribute store.
And it's moving
cool.
again.
Yes. We went through Eternal Bloodlines. Was it Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines? Oh boy. It was the first house we did. So we had to start at Blue Man Group and we walked all the way back to Bloodlines in the back of the park. And we went through. Tour guide said she doesn't know why. There's only a poster as the facade when you have this nice little goblin hut next door. Poster, don't know why.
Yeah, but that's traditional with the monsters houses. Have they ever had a really good facade?
They do the projection usually.
When you're walking down behind old Curious George and E.T., of those loud ass speakers blasting at you, you don't have that so much now.
I like this setup so much better the way that they did it this year with the new Sprungs.
I do
Within
too.
intense, I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
what they're
of
called.
course.
It's so much better.
So we're going through Eternal Bloodlines. She's telling a little bit of the story. He's like, yes, Saskia's here. Similar to the podcast, the brother was killed, and Dracula and her father, Eduardo, not Hugh Jackman Van Helsing, was the quote. Daddy Van Helsing and Dracula kill each other. You then go to Egypt, and tour guide said, because. The reason is because if you take out Aknu Sumanra, you take her out completely, changes nothing to the story. Nothing of consequence happens there. Merely tossed in because they needed another monster. But not really. You could have really done a better storyline with the two monsters you have. You're walking through, you do the mummy, nothing of consequence happens. You you leave it. You come into the caravan where She-Wolf is killing Frankenstein. In the same exact caravan, as you go around the corner, you have Saskia. She could have prevented the whole thing. Asked why the pacing was like this. Asked why did they set up this way. Don't know. No real insight to this particular scare. Why is Bride and Saskia teaming up? Because they were in the same room. You then go to Dracula's manor, and the brides are there, and Dracula's daughter is there. Okay. The reasoning, like, there's like this large atrium or like foyer room where you have the painting and the fireplace and the staircase. Why is there no scare actors? To trick you. To make you think there's gonna be a bunch of people coming in, but there's no one in there as a trick. Certainly not a budget cut of any sort.
It's just, why would you do that?
They're tricking you.
Like,
They're tricking you. They're gonna make you scared with the lack of
reverse
stuff.
it would be a much better trick. Like, make it seem like a small room that nothing's gonna happen, like a transition hallway, and then there's a scare or something. Like,
you then go into a church, and I had to ask after the fact to make sure I didn't miss this. We had moved on to the third house of our tour, and I was asking, why did we go to the church? Did I miss something? Oh no, I don't know why. They didn't tell us. It doesn't make sense because She-Wolf is out, you're getting chased out of Dracula's manor by Dracula's daughter. You go into the church. Why is there a church? And the church is situationally next door to Dracula's manor. Why is the church there? I don't know. And then She-Wolf is waiting in the church, and that's where Saskia gets her head lobbed off. You leave the church, and Dracula's daughter's holding Saskia's head. How'd she get it? Don't know. Our tour guide was doing her best to not say this was absolute shit decision. Lots of nods, lots of hems and haws. And then Bride, for some reason, then takes Saskia's body back to the Van Helsing manor, and Dracula's daughter, She-Wolf, and Aknu Sumanra, the mummy, all follow her back to make sure Saskia is dead. That's why all the monsters are in Van Helsing's manor in the finale.
makes no sense.
If I see Van Helsing, I swear to the Lord, I will slay him. It would have been better if they would have had Bill Hader and Jason Segel with all the Dracula puppets in the last scene. That would have been.
I want. Yes.
Die. I can't.
Die.
We're talking Forgetting Sarah Marshall. If you haven't seen it, oh my God, where have you been?
See Jason Segel's wiener.
Yeah, he flops that thing around.
First 10 minutes, full frontal.
With his giant
Guaranteed
bowl of Fruit Loops. Let's start a Forgetting Sarah Marshall podcast where we just talk about that.
We watch it.
That one scene all over and
Just
over
the
and
one
over.
scene?
Yeah. That's all you talk about. Just peanut.
What floppy wieners and Fruit Loops.
Yeah, just that one scene on repeat.
FWFP every week.
It's like, how many times can we watch this in a row?
Oh.
We've done that before, Bill.
No.
We had the Blink 182 challenge for people to
Where
listen
are
to.
you?
Yeah. How many times can you? There's a YouTube video where that just loops for 6 hours.
Where are you?
I'm partial to the somebody 10-hour loop from old Shrek.
Bustin'.
Yeah, Bustin's a good one, 10 hours. So if you didn't get the storyline on Eternal Bloodlines Universal Monsters, that's what you're gonna get.
That's okay, because there is none.
It's okay.
Everyone's confused by it.
And when we get to the rankings, and
The actors are confused. They don't know what they're doing.
I'm gonna quote Fisher here. They haven't synced up yet.
I don't think they're going to.
The blood moon is not hit.
You're going to be surprised by my rankings.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Some shining blood walls indeed. We also checked out we already said Monstros, Goblins, Feast, Monsters. We went through Ghostbusters, which is really cool. A lot of no photos allowed here. Oh, sorry. The one other thing I want to talk about Monstros. That when you see the large El Cibone puppet, there's actually a camera directly above the head and a little bit to the right that's looking at you, so the puppeteer can see who's coming in, because otherwise the puppet fully obstructs their vision. And there's a monitor on the other side of the wall that lets them see who's coming down. He knows how to time it. Yep. That's why those scares are really good, because they can actually see what's happening.
Whoever the puppeteers must love me, because that thing gets right in my face.
That thing's the only scary thing in that house.
Near about get his spit granules on the lip from the puppet shake. Ghostbusters, not a whole lot there. There's no rhyme or reason why they include ghosts from other movies like Vigo, the Carpathian. He's in there for no reason. They have the minor ghost from Afterlife. Slimer's just there because he's recognizable.
Well, everyone likes Slimer.
We can talk about that when we get to
don't. Hollywood keeps on winning. Still has Slimer. And what else do we do? And we did Insidious. With Insidious, we got to see a lot of how those scares work. That was more of a explanation and behind the scenes on how they work. And they the tour guide had several members on the tour hold open the curtains during the first finale with all the red demon curtains to show just how many places the one guy pops out. All of them have at least 3 boo holes that they can utilize. Another guy has 4. And then there's one of the breathing men in the hospital area has a 5 boo hole access route that he can take, where he can get you 5 different times if he wanted to, and he's moving well. The big red door at the beginning is 15 feet tall. And in the large courtyard where you have the red-faced demon up above, that's actually a physical mannequin that's moving on pneumatics and hydraulics. And he falls down, and then a red-faced demon pops out on the ground floor, which I thought was pretty neat. It was not a projection, despite looking as such.
Question for Fisher. So, I want you to talk a little bit more later about. So you were a scare actor in previous life and everything. And so hearing that one of the scare actors has 5 boo hole potentials to pop out at, is that really difficult for the scare actor, or is it just more fun, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that's pretty unique. The first year that I worked Horror Nights, I was in a giant room with just a bunch of curtains, but a lot of different entrances and ways to come out at the guests, so much so that it was confusing that people would walk back into my boo holes, because I had a hallway, then I had all kind of areas that I could kind of work with in my room. So it's from a physical standpoint, if you're moving around a lot, you're getting, I almost think it's a little bit easier, because what gets a little bit repetitive if you're in a house is just constant stepping forward and stepping back, or stepping forward and stepping back. That wears on your body a little bit more. So I would be, if I was cast in that role, I would be absolutely ecstatic, because you can work with that role a little bit more, versus sometimes being a house scare actor, it becomes kind of stale.
People sneaking in, guys slap their hands. Get out of my hole.
Is that the house?
Don't touch my hole.
Is that the house that people took the wrong way the one time you went through, Brent, or was that a different one?
No, that was Quiet Place.
Okay.
We were just dumb.
Rumor is some of the veterans from scare acting are in that Insidious house, so that also probably explains a lot of the aggressiveness that folks are seeing. People know what they're doing.
That would make sense. They must be not longtime veterans, because the old timers who've been doing it since the 90s, probably a little gassed. They can't be moving like that. I don't
Speak for
believe
yourself, Bill.
Okay, well, let's put you in the 5-hole Monty and see if you can pull it off.
If I didn't have 12 plates and screws in my leg right now, I'd be running circles around these kids.
Here we go. I got plate leg.
Old man scare actor.
We can put you at. They have the breathing man sitting on the counter petting his armless and legless puppet. You can be that one.
There are roles that sometimes people get. I'm like, I feel for you so much.
Oh, that sitting one, I would not. I would be very upset.
Like, it's just so many nights now that you have to do this, and it's till 2 a.m. I feel for the scare actors.
No, you just hope you be on cast B. Never have to open, never have to close.
Yep.
And you have one less set. That said,
when I started as a scare actor, it was cast X and cast Y.
Whoa, nah, we can't say that anymore. We can't say X and Y.
It actually was X and Y.
Nope, no good. Those are chromosomes, and you know what that means. No good.
Is that why they changed it?
No.
Like, why would they change it?
I have no idea.
It just seems like an unnecessary
way
thing.
more sense.
I mean, it does, but it just seems like an odd change.
Unmasking the Horror, super cool. The 6-house tour is about 6 hours. Then you also have the 3-house tour. I was told that the 6-house tour, and so with that you have 9 out of 10 houses covered. The 6-house tour, I was told it rotates between, I believe, Insidious and Quiet Place for as far which house you get. It just depends on availability, if the techs need to work on the house, and the animatronics, since both of those are very animatronic heavy, and just availability. Fully recommend it. Thank you again, ZJ, for taking me on a wonderful time. And if you go on an Unmasking the Horror tour and get some new information, or take the 3-house tour, hey, shoot us an email, text, voicemail. We'd love to hear about your experience.
So they didn't take you all through Triplets, but Triplets is in the 3-house tour.
Correct.
Okay.
You get Triplets. Everything. The other ones besides Quiet Place.
Triplets, Museum, and Slaughter.
Yes. Triplets, Museum, and Slaughter. Slaughter probably would have been cool to go through. Museum, I'm fine. Triplets, maybe, but Slaughter would have been neat to see.
Did your tour guide point out the snails?
Oh yes, there's snails. There's a snail in every house.
I found one in my last run through of Insidious on Wednesday.
Where was the snail in that one?
So in the very first room where that scare actor's walking back and forth, then he jumps out at you. Where he's got the baby. He's got the baby. Yeah, in that room. So where the scare actor is walking, look left on like the little banister that goes around, or not banister, just the fence. I don't know. That goes around the front of the house.
Yes.
I don't know. Look to the left, and you see it on that side.
Okay.
Yeah, I happened to look over there on Wednesday, and I was like, oh, wait, a snail.
Yeah, they hide. It seems to be a theme of insects or insect adjacent, where the house designers will hide something in the house. Every single house will have the same thing hidden. This year, it's snails.
And then there's a dessert gimmick as well, right?
Yes, because each house this year had a code. Every year, a house has a code name to identify it instead of just saying house 1, 2, 3, 4. Each house had a code name, which was desserts this year. And with Goblin's Feast, it was a sundae. You'll see a human body part sundae in the first scene on the bar top. You have a pie, and you have a pie in Major Sweets on Miss Treat's table. And there's a reason behind all these. Major Sweets is a pie because kids are sweet as pie. There's
edit that out.
I'll mark that here. 28. I didn't make that up. That's the reason. That's what the tour guide said. In A Quiet Place, it's cookies. Monstrose, it's flan, and the reason for flan is because it's exotic.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
It's also Latin, but okay. Where's the baklava?
Baklava? Not this year.
I thought there was baklava.
There might be.
Okay, find the baklava.
Send us a photo.
Send us, and
find the baklava.
Yeah, Dave will give you a prize from the Epcot Lagoon.
2 deposits fills it up. It's s'mores in Ghostbusters, and they have in the laboratory, there's a Stay Puft Mini Marshmallow Man who's been smushed into a s'more.
Oh, I've seen that one.
That one's super easy to find.
Okay.
And I don't remember the rest. But Baklava might be in Eternal Bloodlines, Fisher. That makes sense to me.
I thought it was in Museum, but maybe I'm wrong.
Oh.
I saw someone spreading fake news on the Horror Nights.
Oh, wait.
Facebook
Fake news
group?
on the Horror Nights Facebook
I
group?
know,
No.
crazy, right?
No.
Oh,
Someone-
man.
Yeah.
Someone posted a question. They asked, like, why is A Quiet Place's code name a cookie? And I guess whoever commented did not know that, like, every house had the, something sweet as its code name because it's in the house. And someone replied, and it made me laugh aloud. And I almost corrected them, but I was like, that's not worth my effort. They replied, they said, because when you bite into a cookie, it's quiet. It doesn't make a lot of noise.
What?
I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Oh, man.
that was what someone said. I was just like, yeah, I'm not even going to try to correct this.
What quiet cookie are you munching?
Chips Ahoy Chewy, I guess.
Ew. Disgusting. Ew. I can't remember the rest of them. It's not important. It really does not mean anything. I know ZJ's opinion. He's like,
Triplets
fuck.
was, I think, fudge, because it was like a fudge cake.
Yep.
But
Pie, baklava, fudge, flan, s'mores, cookies, pudding, cobbler, donuts, and a sundae.
Pudding is in Insidious. Don't know why. And just for calls,
Cosby's
because
favorite
it's
house.
scary. Like the lipstick
oh my
monster.
god, yeah, the pudding is in the baby's room.
It's scary like Bill
Is
Cosby.
it supposed to be like poop? Like pudding?
No, it's not supposed to be
Is it
poop.
in the
What's
baby
wrong
room?
with you?
Is it the bad?
Oh my god. Are you begging for the return of the shit smell in houses? Did you
Yes,
go
bring
through
it back.
did you go through one that actually had it? I think you started too late.
It smells like bird shit.
No.
in that one
Well,
room,
yeah,
but-
that's in the Monstrous house.
Did they talk about that? How
Yeah, they
pumped that
said
in?
we put a very light bird shit smell in here.
Light.
Light?
It's not light. It's
No, it's
not.
not light at all.
It doesn't smell like the liquid ass they were pumping into Psycho Scarapy back in 03.
Correct.
Oh my god. Those were the days. Final piece that I just remembered. In Insidious, after you walk through that door and you have the house facade, on the far left side, it's almost obscured by a curtain, there is a mailbox that has the red flag up. During the tour, you might be able to do this during your regular run-throughs. You might get yelled at. I'm not endorsing it. If you open it up, there is a skull inside the mailbox. Which I
It's
thought
an
was...
odd little touch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of just asking for someone to open
I don't
it
remember
during-
that from the movie. Well, you can barely see it because it's a
No.
dark gray or black mailbox. First off, it's obscured partially by the curtain, and you have to walk pretty far off the path to get near it.
You'll get yelled at. Don't do that.
Do what you want.
Although I don't know if do they stage ops right in that front. I can't remember.
No,
might
because
be
the
someone's-
first ops is by the soundstage entrance where they have the camera, little iPad.
Okay.
I don't think there's one in the beginning. You just have the "I got your baby" guy.
He's got the baby.
He's got your baby. And they did mention that a lot of that house is also male. There's like only one or two female actors in Insidious. Also will lead to the aggression. So Unmasking the Horror, super good.
So it's opposite monsters.
It's opposite monsters.
Opposite monsters.
Period. End of sentence.
Ew. Don't say that.
She said it.
Munching monster cookies.
All right, that's our show.
Oh, all right. I'm
Leave a
glad-
voicemail.
Leave a voicemail. We
See
have.
you in the park.
We'll get to. The oh yay! It's over.
Ew.
Let's get into, as we are entering we're entering October. Tonight is the last night of Horror Nights in September. Rush of Fear is officially over as of last weekend. Fisher, you did go to the park this
Friday.
past Friday.
Very
Still-
quickly.
Sounded like it was still busy.
It was packed.
That's like we talked about earlier. It's probably a little credence due to the hurricane canceling the event on Thursday the 26th.
Yeah.
Everyone
So no
came out.
Yeah. No Thursday evening. So I believe what they did was if you had a single night ticket, where that Thursday they were honoring it on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday
Yep.
following that immediate Thursday. And I'm assuming people, if they had only that night available, might have called guest services and tried to get that moved. But it seemed like there was not only an increase in the crowds once it hit that 8-9 p.m. going into peak time, but it also really screwed up the express queues for that night because of the fact that, if you had an express for that Thursday and you're going Friday, most likely, it's going to inflate the actual people going through the express queue. So not the greatest experience from a op standpoint on Friday evening, but we tried to get as much as we could done early and got the heck out of there because the lines were just getting worse and worse and worse.
Hopefully that is a one-off because of the hurricane. I mean,
I believe so.
Rush of Fear is over. We have a few more dates left on the premiere tickets. Really hoping the queues kind of cool off. I mean, years past, it usually does take a little bit of time off with Rush of Fear. The first 2 weeks of October, usually pretty good time to come visit the event. And I think that will be true again this year. And it will ramp up significantly all the way up till Halloween. And then those November dates are going to be real juicy to come out and get some good runs. Actors might be a little tired. That in mind, any conflicting thoughts or opinions on how the crowds are going to be coming in these next few weeks as we're into October, the back half of the event, and with the Rush of Fear Pass being now done, all the poros, will that reduce the teenage menace coming in and destroying our great event?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I think your teenagers are buying single night.
Yeah, they're doing single nights.
Well, the teenagers aren't poor then.
Well, historically, I was used to October always being crazy, but it seems like since they've started Rush of Fear, since they've been doing it, the September is now busier. But I think we talked about this last year, Bill, but October slowed down a little bit, if I remember, from 32. And then Halloween, you get a little bit of a bump as people, I don't want to go to Horror Nights until it's actually closer to Halloween. You get that crowd. And then the last weekend, hopefully it slows a little bit. But the people were buying, so y'all help me out with this. They bought FFP, Frequent Fear Pass, but they bought Rush of Fear Express. Because if you combine the two, it's cheaper than getting FFP with Express. So you can utilize Express for the September runs, and then you don't have it in October. So maybe those folks who still have Frequent Fear but don't have Express won't come back and utilize it because they used it for the Rush of Fear in September timeframe.
I can't tell you. I don't know how much those are. If I believe you though, if that's cheaper, it's a pretty good deal.
Because we're pushing like $1,000, I believe. Is that right? For if you
do
Plus with Express.
If you do Ultimate with Express, that was over 1,000.
Over 1,000. Okay.
If you do Pass Plus with Express, it was 6 or 7.
Yeah, something like that.
But the Mac Daddy ticket is over 1,000. Though it was very, very few. You couldn't get them. Hard to get.
Well, I mean, they listened to people's complaints from last year, so.
Oh. Now, I guess the Express queues are.
They're better than they were last year, I think. Yep, last year people complained a lot that the Express lines were way too long for how much people paid, which I
Last
agree.
of Us Express queue always
it
bad.
Was insane. And so they listened, like people complained last year they sold too many Express passes, and so they changed it this year, and now people are still complaining. They're like, I couldn't get Express. It's like, well, pick your poison.
Well, it sounds like you could have gotten Express on Friday despite the whole rollover. A million stands out in the park begging you to spend money with us. Come buy our passes.
They were selling Express single night. Yep.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll continue to provide updates on park visits, and we may have one more show before the whole shebang is done with for the 2024 season and give final thoughts and reviews and our closing remarks. As we're halfway, let's talk about rankings. Where are we now that we've had ample time for our actors and performers to have been acclimated to their roles? The weenies who couldn't tough it out have quit. We have backfilled to the best of our ability, and we're seeing where those permanent holes are at. And we can either talk house by house and then give rankings, or you want to give rankings and reasoning behind it. I will leave it to the guests today to start us off. Whomever want to jump in.
Let Bryn decide.
Yeah.
She's the true talent.
You want to talk house by house? Do you want to just play your TikTok reel into the mic?
Yeah, let me just play all of my reels, get more views on them, No, but so I will. I mean, maybe we can each kind of do it however we want individually. But what I'll probably do, I'm going to read my previous ranking from what I gave you before, and then I'll give you my current house ranking and why things changed. I'm not going to go like house per house, but like why main ones changed, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't have my previous house rankings. I can tell you what was first and what was last, and I think
well,
those ones have stayed
prepared.
the same.
So my previous house ranking went from number 1 to number 10. It went Slaughter Cinema 2, Insidious, Goblins, Triplets of Terror, Major Suites, Ghostbusters, A Quiet Place, Monstros, Monsters Eternal Bloodlines, Museum.
Ooh, this was your previous one.
This was my after week 1 rating.
1 to 10.
Yes, number 1 to 10. Yeah, that was after week 1, opening weekend, what my thoughts were.
So
now,
you had Slaughter at 1.
Yes, Slaughter
Okay.
at 1, Museum at 10.
Mm.
Now, things have definitely changed. Now my number 1 is Insidious. My number 2, Goblins. 3 is Slaughter Cinema 2. So that one dropped a couple ranks. 4 is Major Suites, so that one bumped up 1. 5 is Ghostbusters. That one also bumped up 1. Triplets of Terror is next. That one went down 2.
Oh.
Then Museum. That one bumped up 3 spots. Then A Quiet Place, that dropped. Monstros dropped 1. And then Universal Monsters dropped 1. And now that's my last.
Universal Monsters and last. I think that's going to be
never happened to me
shared
before.
sentiment.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's
Not
never
for me.
happened for me before.
Well,
I'm so sad that Monsters
you're wrong,
is
Fisher.
last. But
If you have anything but Monsters and last, you're wrong.
No, I don't
Yeah.
have it at last.
Oh, wrong.
all right, and then some like I won't go into each individual house of like why they are where they are, but I'll do like a couple of the main changes. So, Insidious being number 1, went up 1 rank from number 2 to number 1. I just love the aggression in that house. Like Fisher, you said, it's rumored to be some veteran scare actors. That definitely shows if that is true. Is it the best set design and everything ever? Absolutely not. But the scare factor is what puts it number 1 for me now. Goblins, I think the scares and the set design is fantastic. So that's why that's number 2. Slaughter Cinema is still in my top 3. I love that house. It just really stinks. There's only like 2 to 3 scare actors per room. If there's a hole, it kind of
The house really
feels
stinks.
very empty. No, that's the bird poopy
That's
room.
what I heard. It really stinks.
What other main differences? Oh, A Quiet Place dropped. Fisher, on your voicemail previously, you asked, do we think that house being animatronics and puppets for basically all of it will affect the experience moving through the event? I say 100%. I really liked that house before. I thought it was very unique, very well done. Now I went through on Wednesday and I was like, honestly, I don't really need to do this house anymore.
Yep.
Because nothing has changed.
Out of all the 10 houses from this year, it is the one that if I have a choice that I'll say we don't have to go through that one. That's low on that's actually my 10th house. And it has been
and
since
I
the beginning.
understand that because it's not like scare actors can kind of change up their scares a little. They can get, I don't know, interesting with it, switch it up. But these, they can't. They cannot.
They're
So,
very beholden to the show scene that they're in and it being a guarded IP. There's not a whole lot of
it's consistent.
malleability to
I can
it.
tell you that.
It's
Like,
consistent. The robots
say that, yeah.
appear to have not broken down anytime I've walked through. They've been working every time, at least.
Wednesday when I went through, there were 2 holes for puppeteers, and that was lame because then the puppet just sits still and then the light is still flashing and everything. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that was pretty lame. The big one I want to talk about that changed, Museum, went from number 10 to number 6 or 7. Sorry. Um, the house design in that one, I'm not a fan of, but I can just see the effort those scare actors are putting in, and that I care about that. They are trying so hard to do their best. It's just the house setup and design just does not help them out at all. But they're trying so hard, and I can see it. So I can't leave them in the bottom anymore just because of that.
Well, it's good that you're acknowledging that. It's a house can be poorly paced and conceptualized if the actors are trying, as you've clearly noted, can definitely bump you up. And it's really great to see that they probably know, like they know by now, our house isn't the most popular. Our house isn't the greatest. My spot may kind of suck. There's some big costumes in there that are very difficult to maneuver, and they got some tight places they have to, even in the smaller costumes or those smaller size costumes, there's some tight corners they gotta get around, especially in that Viking scene. You have the spooky curtain that comes out and has like a very long trigger and has to act out the entire piece. And then the Viking has to get around the ship, the Viking ship, as well as some other floor pieces. And that's just challenging as can be already. At least they're trying, because they know where they stand. They're not going to get House of the Year. They know that. They know by now.
Yeah, they're trying, and they didn't give up, after the first couple weeks. Yeah, they didn't give up. So, and I can see that.
It has to be hard. If you're reading all the content that's out there, if you're listening to content and people continuously poo-poo that house, it has to be hard as a scare actor. Even though it's always prefaced with, this isn't, we're not talking about the scare actors. Mm-hmm. It does hit your morale. And it's hard as a scare actor if you're in a street, if you're in a house and it's not getting the love and you feel like, man, I'm really pouring everything I have into this to try and make it better, but you don't have a lot of control. You are told where you go, you are given direction, you are given the costume, whatever it is, and you just have to perform. So I've seen the same, Bren, of those scare actors in that house. I think my ranking of it might almost be a little bit jaded because of how much people have been poo-pooing on that house when I really enjoyed it at the beginning, but I also have a fond spot for Sprung Tent 1. So I went into that as number one on my hype list, and it's dropped, but I think it has an opportunity to work its way back up my list.
Yeah. Richard, do you want to do your ranking next?
While you were doing yours, I went back and pulled my after first weekend.
Dug it up.
So start at 1, right? So I had Insidious at 1. After the first week, it's still currently at 1. Even though I've yet to get any actors in the curtain room. I've missed it. Yeah. So I don't know.
In the red curtain room, you haven't gotten
correct.
One.
Not a single one.
God.
So I don't know what's going on. I wanted to bring this up because Bill, I think you kind of understand how the house works. The houses work. I've noticed through when there's a cast change. So if you're not familiar with it, casts go in, and I believe they're on the 30 minutes at this point. So when a house opens, when there's going to be a cast change. It's super easy to figure out. In the past, we would walk into a house, you would tag the person physically on the shoulder, they walk out, okay? They leave the set, you're already in place. You're ready to go. I'm seeing a large gap in time this year in some of the houses where for a good extended period, the person's not set. And I don't know why that is or why that's changed. I know there are some locations where you've got stilts or things within the house that make it a little bit more difficult to get into your actual spot, but
not in Insidious.
Well, Bill, we had a funny cast change experience in a Slaughter Cinema.
In Slaughter, we did.
Mrs. Claus was in the Mardi Gras room.
Yeah.
What the heck?
That was my favorite part of that house so far. Was seeing
hilarious.
Mrs. Claus walk through the back of Mardi Gras. But Bill, you slowed us in the one when we were going through Insidious. We went through together.
Mm-hmm.
We dipped my daughter kind of behind us, so she was with Xandra and Bren. I'm like, listen, hopefully with the three of you together like this, they target. They're not going to target Bill and I. Most likely, some do. Props. They've been going after me this year, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
And your timing was like, oh, they're doing a cast change right now. We knew going into it, it was like 3 minutes before a cast change. We're going to be in the middle of the house. They're going to be switching out the cast. And you kind of slowed, right, your pace a little bit so we could get it. We saw them kind of changing out. And then, but right when we got through the room, all the curtain people were jumping out. I've yet to experience it, but it doesn't matter because the fact that the house is pretty terrifying. My daughter, who goes with me now and brought my love for the event back after I was really losing it after all of the IP stuff and the Walking Dead for 7 years, zombies everywhere, just was getting kind of tired of the event. And she's terrified. She shakes going through that, and she has no problems going through houses. And the last, I don't know if they call that the demon thing or whatever, Tiptoe Through the Tulips guy, he chased her out of the house the other night, and oh my God, it was amazing. And they try to work with their scares so much. We had one where the bride in the finale room, like, and she wasn't at eye level. She pops up and comes out. It's like, it was, they're really, you don't know sometimes in that house where they're going to come from, even though you've been through it enough to know where they're supposed to pop out, and it still gets you. So that remains number one. And I never give IPs. IPs never finish in my top spot.
Same.
Never let them
like,
finish.
Like, I don't want it to be number one, but it is. Like, like.
Yeah, it's a huge house. It takes a long time to get through it, and even if the actors aren't set, there's still so much to look at with the mannequins everywhere, and it's still it's creepy. And they have a good finale, which I find completely lacking this year are the finales.
Oh, they
in
are
a
rough.
good amount of the houses. So that stayed one. I had some movement in two. First weekend it was Monstrose, just because we've had so many great runs with the scare actors in that house. It's now Goblins. So Monstrose has dropped.
Yes, the Goblins rise up.
Yeah, Goblins is an amazing house.
It's
not just
so good.
I mean, looking at it from a set standpoint, but the actors have been on fire. It's so fun going through that house with the "it's not ready yet" and just all the different things that you get. And I experience new things each time I go through that house. Don't love the finale, even though I do like the scene. It's kind of hard to note if you don't know where the person is because you're heading left out, but the person's on the right. So that was kind of an interesting placement with that scare actor. But I love me some Goblins, and my daughter's finally starting to get into it because she had a really good run the other night. So props to Goblins. Goblins should be from a. I know if they do give it to Insidious, that's fine, but I think Goblins should be right up there with House of the Year. I think it's that
good.
3. So 3 was Goblins. Obviously, it's moved up. Now my 3 is Sweets, Major Sweets, which has moved up.
Hide the evidence.
Get rid of the evidence.
Again,
that's so good.
That house is fantastic. Love the characters. Miss Treats is amazing. Taffy popping out. The good placements of Major Sweets. Very gory, which I was not expecting. Just thinking of how that house was going to be set up, and it's fun. It's fun in a very evil, sadistic way, and I love it. So, and those scares will come out of nowhere, which I always appreciate. And sometimes you sit there and you wait for it. I'm a slow walker through the house. Y'all know. I want people behind me to experience it. I don't like people just rushing through the house and missing everything. So there's definitely opportunity in that house to always get scares. So that's my current number 3.
I'm liking this list so far. Insidious is a little high, but I'm liking it so far on yours.
Well, you're just biased on Insidious.
You're just a hater.
No. Insidious is. I'll get to mine.
4 was Sweets. Now that's, like I said, that's moved up. My current 4 is Monstrose, but I still I don't feel that's going to finish lower than my top 5. We've had really great runs in this house with the actors. I get the story. I like how they kind of go from monster to monster. The damn finale. Like, if it was just, and I've heard people talk about the finale. If they had it, if there was a live actor, and when I mean the finale, I mean the final scene. I don't mean what happens when you exit the curtains of the soundstage, which is great. That guy gets me every time. I just don't get the static thing that's
his
there.
Head moving. I don't get that either.
Muerte, he's pointing at your grave.
Where it's just saying you, yeah, but it's like
his head
slightly
2.
move.
2.
Yes.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't No racism, please, Brennan.
If there was a live actor in that room, even if I assumed when I first went through it, that's the distraction. Where's
the guy on the left?
Yeah. Where are they going to come out? But that's not until you exit the house.
Because like that character is an actual person throughout the rest of the house. So why wouldn't they just put one more right there?
Yeah, and props to that scare actor if they listen to this, because when they're singing and they're acting it out, like they're great. They're not there for the scare aspect of it. So they have really good performers in that role. But that I don't think I can get over that finale, because to me it's a top 3 house easily. But the finale just brings it down for me.
It isn't a finale. It's just, all right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
It looks like what you would see if you walked up to trick-or-treating and someone's got a Halloween display out.
Honestly, yeah.
And not even someone who spent a lot.
Halloween.
Yeah, not even someone who spent a lot of time. Exactly, Brandon. It's just like they didn't really do anything. So like they dug a grave and here's this skull-looking thing and it's just gonna move and stare at you, but nothing like in Oddfellow last year where they had that clown that would move, but that thing was terrifying. This to me is like, no, I feel bad because
well, I mean, let me refer back to it's to trick you, Fisher. You think there's gonna be an actor, but the creepiness is that there isn't one. Certainly not budget cuts or lack of space in a giant soundstage.
Yeah. So I still love the house though, and I think that the scare actors have been awesome in that house. Especially when you get, is it El Sabone, which is the second.
El Sabone. When
they're firing, they're firing. I mean, and they're coming at everywhere. If they're not, there's sometimes a few rooms that have some dead spots. So that's why it dropped a little bit. 5 was Ghostbusters. 5 is now triplets. Ghostbusters is it's falling the most for me. And that's because if folks have been through the house, that house is very scene based. When the scene doesn't happen, it's a wasted room. There's just nothing going on. That's not just in cast changes, which I have experienced, where I went through 3 rooms and there's not a single actor, which is disappointing because that house started so high for me and I had very low expectations. It's going to be a fun house, not going to be scary. But the set is amazing. I love just going through it. There's nostalgia, which doesn't make sense. We talked about that, I think, early. But specific examples, Slimer on a stick.
Slimer on a stick.
When I see photos...
you slime my stick.
When I see photos of Slimer, it looks like it's covered up. Like it makes sense. But when I walk through it, it's just a stick. It's Slimer. So I've seen an actor... in a Slimer costume. I've seen Slimer on a stick, stagnant Slimer, and then I've seen puppet Slimer where the arms move.
Yeah, but I don't understand what's happening there.
I don't either. But
the arms are moving now?
Yeah.
One night, the arms were moving, but I'm missing Mike Wheeler from Stranger Things. That dude.
Finn Wolfhard.
Finn Wolfhard. Where have you been all my life, Finn Wolfhard? I've seen you one time and you're gone. Like what happened to you?
Slapping his proton stick against the wall.
Yeah, but that's the scene.
Slimer stick.
That's the scene that makes the scene of why Slimer's moving around. When you don't have Mike Wheeler, it's dead. So then we go through the fire, whatever guy that is in the movie. He's missing. When he's missing, it doesn't make sense for Phoebe, I believe is the character.
McKenna Grace.
Okay. Fighting Garaka. So one person doing it completely ruins the scene when they're missing. Then the other night, they didn't have a single actor in there. No Garaka, no the Ghostbusters, no Fire Guy.
No.
So you can see the
Eddie Winston.
No. Oh yeah, he was the last actor we saw in the house.
And no Janine.
And pointless. I'm sorry, but for that to be the final person that you see going out of the house, that makes no sense.
Where do you think you're going?
Yeah, she should have been in the beginning. I'm sorry. I hate the poo-poo on this house. Like it actually is really fun, but it's declining so much, and I feel like it might be a staffing issue. I'm not sure. But I feel
certainly
bad.
Seemed like it with how many holes that one in Monsters, Eternal Bloodlines consistently have the most holes.
So when Garaka was missing, that you could see the loop of the video that plays behind it. Like it actually had words written on it. I'm like, oh boy, this is really bad. So that is now dropped to my number 8, even though I think it should be lower at this point. So say Ghostbusters went from 5 to 8. Triplets went from 6 to 5. So that's eked up a little bit. I think that's because the cast works with what they have in that house. Everyone's poo-pooing on that one too. They don't understand the story. But I really enjoy the actors, that they have a very limited space. I think Insidious might be creeping into, they're in the same soundstage. So Insidious got all the love. But I have enjoyed Triplets. Final Scareactor has chased my daughter down the hall of the soundstage out the exit. So
big time.
Props to Junior.
Oh, Junior.
And they feel like that. I feel like the actors are having fun in that house. It feels like they're enjoying their characters and they've gotten into their roles. So that's jumped up 1. Museum was 7. That's now 9. It'll work its way back up there. I don't need to go into detail with that, Bren. You covered that one. It'll get there. My 8 was Monster.
Oh boy.
This is where. Here you go. Now you get to critique me. Monsters was 8. Eternal Bloodlines. It's now 6.
Oh.
Okay, but here's the deal. My 6, 7, and 8. You could. There's no difference to me between. They could all be 6. I don't care. But I've had more jump scares in Eternal Bloodlines, regardless of the holes, regardless that the story doesn't make a lot of sense. It takes a long time to get through that house. There's a lot of scenes. The holes are evident when they're there. But I've had more jump scares in particular places in that house than I have in Slaughter and I have in Ghostbusters.
What scares can you say get you?
There's a wolf woman. I mean, what would you even call
she wolf?
Okay, she wolf. That's popped out a couple times. Bride, even though it's not really a first scare, that's got me a couple times. It's startle scares. It's a sound effect, and then the actors popping out. So I've been through that house 3 times. I haven't had a bad run, even if the holes are evident. The weird thing about the house is you feel like someone's going to come out of a certain area, and then they don't. But then I'm not expecting it, and here they come out of a different hole, and they trigger their sound effect. So I don't know. I get everything about it. The story doesn't make sense, and I understand. It seems like there's a lot of holes, but it's been enjoyable for me every time. But it's still not
holes, lack of energy.
I'm not seeing that at all.
I wish I got this godly walkthrough you had. Have you caught the she-wolf coming down the zip line?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, that's
great
nice.
Seeing it one time.
That's nice.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's not in my top 5, but it actually moved up, which is crazy. Slaughter did move up. Hold on. So Monsters was 8 to 6. Slaughter was my 9. It's up to 7. It's probably just because Bren and I saw Mrs. Claus going through.
And that one jester was like putting on his gloves and just
You're catching people doing the wrong thing, and the house gets a bump.
Funny.
Ugh.
Because we had a good run. I've had so many holes in that house, and it's difficult when so you get the hallways introducing the movie, so that eats up a lot of the scene. And if you get into a room and it's missing a scare actor or scare actors, there's a lot of just dead space where you do nothing. And that's sometimes in a house when I go through multiple rooms and you're just looking around and you're not experiencing anything, that's why I will drop it a little bit lower. So it's come up a little bit. I don't love it. I get some of it. Some of the rooms to me are just throwaways. The Blood and Chum Jaws was cool the first time, but I don't need to see it over and over again.
Yeah.
But we had a good run. The last time I went through, both of there were Zyborgs in there. The demons
Love them Zyborgs.
The demons are getting much better. The demon hunters or whatever those are.
Yeah, Hatchet and Chains. That room's improving. I like the ghost things that jump out. They don't have anything to work with from a scene standpoint, but those actors have been killing it. They pop out and come at me every single time. There's just a couple areas where it seems a little bit, a little dead. Some of the rooms are much better than the others, but it's worked its way up. Don't know if it'll be in my top 5, but a very fair assessment. Probably the fairest one you've given.
Whatever. Scare Actor of the Year twice. Don't be
okay.
So 9 to 7 was Slaughter. A Quiet Place is 10th, and it remains 10th. I
get that one.
I liked seeing it the first time, but I've seen it, and I'm done. Good. I wanted to see if they could pull it off. It has nothing to do with being quiet because the sounds are the triggers, which then cue the monsters. So great. It looks great, but it's just not for me. It's not
I
gonna.
think you pulled it off. I think if you have a single night ticket and you do that house, it's great.
Yes,
But
I agree with that.
otherwise, it's like I think they pulled it off. It's as good as it can be. I think just
yeah.
Well, we talked about that when we played your voicemail fish. That we gotta try to keep it in a frame of mind that you're not going a dozen plus times and being one of the wackos who see it many, many, many times.
Right.
To you personally, yeah, bottom of the list as a house overall, pretty dang good for an IP.
Oh, sure. General public, I would think if I went through it one time, might be in my top 6 houses. To, you know, maybe the upper half. But noting that we go through it, more than the general public, but it's not one that I want to continue to go through. And that's, to me, that's what really gives me impacts the rankings of my house. Is like, I want to go through it again. I want to give it another shot. This one, I don't care to. If there's times where we can go through where the line is low, yes, I would like to see it again because visually it's a really cool house. I just was questioning how they could pull off the gimmick. It's just not. It's not a repeat house for me. So that's why it sits still in last.
Sure, and I don't think you're going to be able to expect any drastic changes or innovation by the actors since they're beholden to those very specific triggers, and they have to play out that part, or they completely go off script and then get in trouble, trying to make it a little better for either the experience for themselves to change it up over these 48 nights. It's tough to expect anything different from there.
So if you all were cast in a house this year, what would you think would be the one that you would be least excited to have been cast in?
monsters.
I don't think you're tall enough for any of them.
Because everyone hates it.
Yeah, because
Except
everyone
me.
doesn't like it.
Except
you.
me.
Yeah.
I'm the outlier.
Well, I wouldn't be in monsters because I'm not the right build. Least excited for? I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to keep in mind what I would actually be cast for. I wouldn't be in Quiet Place. I might be one of the fishermen, dude. That would suck. You just shake your cans. That is kind of fun though.
You're shimmying, just shaking them.
I gotta shimmy, shake my cans. Quiet Place would kind of suck because you're so restricted to the role, and for me, it'd be shaking cans, just in that one spot. I think there's fun to be had in Ghostbusters, especially the stilt stuff. If I could do that.
If you were Paul Rudd, nope.
I'm not gonna be Paul Rudd. I know, probably Quiet Place, because I know I would be the fisherman guy with a fake beard on my face, shaking my cans, and that would be really unfun. The rest of the stuff, originals, you can really move and try to work with. Insidious, you just have pure aggression. Oh, you're guaranteed scares. You're feeling really good about your house.
And you would be uber competitive to try and get Scareactor.
Yeah.
Noting that there's a lot of opportunity and all the hype that house gets. So I think it's bringing the Scareactor level up, because I think it is kind of a competition sometimes. Like you want people talking about your room. You want people talking about, oh, this actor in this room. Like that just kind of hypes you up a little bit more as an actor.
Absolutely.
So there's so much competition in that room because of the fact that I would want to outperform the rest of the scare actors in my house.
What about
be
you,
that
Fisher?
memorable scene.
Where would you not want
What would you not want to do?
Well, they would probably put me as Fisherman Fisher, weird guy. I would
shake your cans.
I've had some. It's weird the roles that I've had, because I've had some ones that are just epic to me and are really awesome. And one year I had a role that I was like, oh, this is horrible, but I'm just going to make the best of it. I don't know if I could make it through a season being cast in just a role that is more acting based, right? And you're just there, you're scenery. I think I would. I don't know that I can make it through.
I'd scrape my head on the side of the facade. God.
I'd let that first, whatever they call those things, I'd let it in the first room take me, and I'd just be done.
Oh, Death Angel, take me out. I'm done.
That's it.
I mean, we wouldn't be in major suites either. Maybe Taffy. They might put you as a Taffy.
I would probably be
what are
a
you
major
saying?
suite.
No, I'm not fitting.
I'm saying you'd fit that mask real well.
Okay, not the build though. Get out of here.
No, you'd be a skinny Taffy. Major Sweet's definitely not, and then the kids,
cast
of
me
course.
as old dad Alice Cooper one night, and I was like, "What? Do I need to lose weight? Like, do I need should I?"
Oh, that's child beater Daddy Cooper.
Yeah,
in the house.
I don't know what that one was about.
Museum, plenty of spots there. Goblin's Feast. Maybe be the posh goblin at the end. That'd be fun.
You could be that.
They're getting away.
The food is escaping.
Yeah.
I feel like if they were to cast me, I'd probably be in Goblins as one of the small female
you
ones.
You would be
or
in Major Sweets as the
as
queen's child.
Yep.
I'm only 5'2", so yeah, that makes sense.
Don't let the TikToks fool you. She is small.
I do not look tall on those at all. They are not fooling anyone.
All right, I guess I'm up on my rankings. I didn't write down anything until the event's over and I have time to reflect. I don't remember really what I had for the last time. I know I had Goblins or Slaughter Cinema as number 1 originally. Definitely not the case. And in last place, I had Museum or Girl Monsters. To go back to something you said earlier, Fisher, why, and just like a little preface on some of these thoughts and rankings, why is there gaps during cast changes? The talking to a lot of scare actors over the years and knowing how some of them are and what people need to do to get through these sets. They're long, they're arduous, it's a long event. Your cast day, you're getting in around 4 o'clock, especially if you're one of the front houses and you're not leaving till closer to 3 in the morning. And you have 6 sets, and they're 45 minutes long. Some people, against the rules or whatever, have to have their headphones in. They need music to jam to get, pumped up, and they're not in their scene getting their headphones set up. It also could have been a long night. They're taking a little bit longer before they're finally into their boo hole to perform because, okay, I can take another extra minute to just be by myself, to not have to work set number 5 tonight. I know my leadership is not walking through the house right now because they're taking the other cast away back to the green room. I can take this extra minute to chip away at my time in the house and not have to perform, especially if it's been a rough night, I'm super tired, I'm overheated, what have you. And as we continue through, what else will affect these rankings for me, especially, is the holes in the houses, the inability or the refusal to backfill these holes with more actors and getting them onboarded.
There's some holes in this house. There's some holes in this house.
It's a real detractor, and it's incredibly evident in your Ghostbusters and Girl Monsters.
Ghostbusters is so scene based. That's what. Oh gosh,
you don't have those performers to show the scene. It falls apart.
And I feel for the people who come through, do the stay and scream. They're one-nighters. In set 1, right, when there's holes, either from the first cast to the second cast or there's just holes that begin. So there's instances where sometimes people can't make it, but they're going to be there. Or there's holes and they're not cast yet, right? So
right, from the Scare Spares this year.
Scare Spare, which was active backup, whatever they call it now. You're not on set yet, right? So you might go through a first set and be missing actors. So if you're doing stay and scream, just note that if you go through a house early on, it may not be fully cast at the time that you go through the house. And that's unfortunate if it's the only time that people are going to make it through. But still, I was not allowed to leave my set until I was physically tagged by my cast's B or A.
Right.
I mean, I almost got punched because the person I was supposed to tag when I was Saw Pig, we got stuck in a torrential downpour going to the grill and we couldn't make it back. And he was livid with me, wanted to punch me out. And I was like, dude, there's nothing I could do because he wasn't allowed to physically leave. He got stuck for an extra 7 minutes on set.
Oh, 7 minutes. Woof.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. I was just curious because it seems more visible to me this year.
I had a buddy who worked the Alice Cooper house where you picked up the one night, and they left him in there full 2 sets in a row because his tag out left early sick and they forgot him in there.
I have seen that before.
Yeah,
sure.
You do a full 90 minutes nonstop, which golly. That being said, with that preface, I mean, my top three in the bottom houses, everything in the middle, and this was, I think, kind of the same when I did my initial rankings. The smattering in the middle is it's so malleable. It's always moving because everything else is, for me, this year as a whole is pretty middling. It's nothing extravagant. You don't have like these big marquee setting houses that I feel like, okay, week one or week whatever, I know this is house of the year. This is my favorite house. This is the one I want to be at for the very last run of the very last night of the event.
That's tough this year.
Yeah, this year I don't have that. Even my favorite house, my number one house, which I'm going to tell you in a moment, is not that. It may not be that. We had Descendants of Destruction, clear pick for me. Last year it was Blood Moon, clear pick for me.
Really?
Yeah, Blood Moon was number one. That thing was so fucking good.
Y'all were about
loved it. Now Brennan's Darkest Steel. Not me.
Fist bump, Brennan.
Oh yeah.
Scarecrow back in the day. You had Case Files. My God, Case Files. Clear winners here. And
Catacombs, yeah.
Was 2012?
Whatever the 20-year was.
Oh, 2010. Catacombs was good. Huddled Pass though. That was it. For me. So I'm not seeing the clear decisive house for me, and it's always an original, no IPs. and number one, which this is it's a challenge right now. Number one for me, and this was probably the same as last time. Still, Goblin's Feast. This thing, yep. Absolute delight to go through. The actors are fully invested into the roles. That first goblin that's coming in hacking up the body to make the feast meat is so jovial. He's like having a little dance. He's like, oh yeah, I'm fucking killing humans. This is great. And they're there. They got the giant's puppet hand. It's working again. The actor's doing great. The big Goblin King puppet is working again. They care about this house. It really seems like, and they're putting the money in to fix the technical aspects and these big physical pieces. And you have such a really cool incorporation of the projection with the giant stomping his feet. I'm hungry. It's not ready yet. They're on point. They're hitting their marks. And they seem to be having a good time, which, hey, if you know what's next door, I'm sure you're having an absolute ball in your house for Goblin's Feast.
Gosh. It was pivotal for me as a scare actor to finally come to the realization that based on the role that you're in, sometimes you're going to be terrifying and you're going to scare people. But did you entertain? If you're in a role that's just not scary, were you entertaining? Are you going to leave a mark on the guests that come through by something that you did? And this cast in this house of goblins seems like if you go through that house and don't leave with a smile, or that you didn't have a good time, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because it is a good time. There are scenes where you will get jump scared, but there's just so much. The music when you enter, the scene when you leave, then there's the big dudes who come out. It's got everything. And of the originals, and I would say, Bill, never know. Like, I think I want to walk through this house the last night and not Insidious.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, as of right now, I would do Goblins also. And like you're saying, like a role that isn't scary, but they do such a great job. The very first actor that you see, he's welcoming you in. He's not scary, but he's welcoming you in. He's like very joyous. He's just very warm.
He has two triggers, that particular actor, and he does he is warm. He has a good scare also.
Yeah, but he's very entertaining. It's just it's a very light scene. It's supposed to be happy, and he does that very well.
And your Dave doesn't listen to any of your Horror Nights content because he hasn't gone yet. But I believe in the preview, he was really saying that this house was going to be awful. I think if I remember back to that episode.
Well, yeah, that was a shared piece between him and I. That our expectation was rather low. I'm like, oh god, goblins again. Yeah, dragons and goblins and I was remarking it to Scary Tales, like, yeah, we've kind of seen this, I felt, before having gone and experienced it. I'm just so pleasantly surprised and happy with the set design, especially. It just makes a lot of sense because you're taking the role of the human that is going to be the main feast course, and you're escaping, but you're going through it backwards. Like, you go underneath the goblin's castle, you wind up in the prison. You're running through the Great Hall past the Goblin King, and you run out the exit where the announcer goblin saying, "Oh shit, they're getting away," and then you escape out the finale, which is the entrance of the Goblin Castle. Yep. So I think it's just really well made, great pacing, nothing but great remarks. On to number 2, and this is again close battle. I mean, they're neck and neck. It just depends on who's on that day. Goblins is a bit more consistent than this one for me, but Major Sweet's Candy Factory, hell of a good time. Pretty damn scary. The gore, the body horror, that is such a hit for me. Where they have all these contraptions and it's force-feeding liquid candy into these kids' mouths. It's fucking gross. And it's so good. I love it. And then they have the puking guy with the health inspector. You have the other dude who's been tied up and he has tubes shoved all in him and he's just being exploded out with liquid candy again. You have this great hammer scene that hasn't been used in a couple years. The last time was Carnival Graveyard, which I believe was 2014. Love that house. Just really reminiscent. And there's a great intensity, despite the nice, colorful aspect that is overlaid with everything going on. And Taffy is such a mean motherfucker. He gets in your face, and then if you have at the end, destroy the evidence, being holler screamed by Major Sweets at the end.
The evidence.
Destroy the evidence. So good.
I don't like Taff anymore because you said I could be him, and I can't. There's no way.
Now every time you look at him, you're gonna look at yourself.
You could be
like,
Peloton
what's
Taffy.
Will saying?
No.
Peloton Taffy.
Peloton Taffy.
Every time before I go, I'm gonna ride 20 miles just to be like, I'm not Taffy.
Taffy presented by Peloton.
And exactly. I like seeing Bryn's character every time we walk in. It's the candy person or the kid with the candy bowl on her head.
That's me.
Yeah, that one's
her.
gross. That's a good spot too. Because although all those mirrors are two-way mirrors, so they can see out and know when to pop for that particular one.
That'd be so fun.
Number 3, Insidious. We made plenty of remarks on this one so far. First off, there's no story. I didn't touch on that earlier, but there's no story. They just want to make it a long, scary house. They did that. They have the audacity to do 2 mannequin rooms or 3 mannequin rooms. Don't like it. Come on. Pure personal preference. I mean, doing it twice is egregious. You have the demon curtain hallway, which I do like. That's a good scares and a lot of intensity and aggression. But then that should be your finale. There should not be a secondary finale after the transition through the large courtyard into the attic or basement or whatever that is, where you have all the demons there. I do like the key face demon. That's a big motherfucker they got in there, popping out really fast, and he sticks his stinky finger in front of you. It's an IP. It can't be number 1. Also, but number 3, I say is pretty damn good. It's definitely scary. I wish with 5 movies, I wish there was a storyline besides just having it exist and have as many scares as you can. And it being number 3 is a accolade to how scary and how good the actors are bringing it. And they have my other 2 favorite voice lines in there. They took your baby, or they have your baby. They took your baby. And then Lin Shaye, very monotone, saying, "Go to hell.
Go to hell.
Go to hell." so
Go
funny.
to hell.
Go to hell.
That guy's got his 10-inch tongue sticking out at you every time he pops out of that thing.
Oh yeah, you got a long, spooky tongue.
Long liquor.
Long
God.
liquor.
For the Slimer stick.
Lick your,
For the
you
slime
slime
on a
my
stick.
stick with your long liquor.
Oh God.
Long lick Slimer on a stick.
Yeah.
So the finales this year, like that Insidious, it's either the montage of the people that you've seen already through the house, or singular actor, doesn't make any sense, just sitting there.
Yeah.
Or that's the theme of the finales this year.
Well, yeah. What so far we talked about Goblin's Feast. It's you have the big Goblin King puppet, and then it's the announcer screaming you out.
Yeah,
Major Sweets.
I like that
it's
one.
Major Sweets screaming you out, and then Insidious. It's a montage. Everyone's here. I want to hop on in.
Yeah.
Now we're in the territory of it's inconsequential what these fall out, except for the bottom 2. Number 4, probably gonna go with Ghostbusters when it's full. If everyone's there, everyone's performing, and there's no hulls, that thing jams. It's such a good experience. There's a super, super good triple scare, which could, I mean, and there's 4 actors that are pushing it. However, there's a divider that keeps you to 2 scenes, and it's right after you're in the laboratory and you go around the corner and you see the window frosting up. On your right is Vigo the Carpathian. He pops out fast, scares you it's frosting over and the librarian's going by. Sorry. On your right, Vigo Carpathian pops, pushes you into the next room. On your immediate left, you have a ghost. On your immediate right, you have one of the demon dogs puppet. Straight ahead, you have another ghost who has 2 different boo spots. So Vigo pushes you in, left guy pushes you to the right, demon dog pushes you into the left and forward into on the second ghost in front of you. Guy on the left gets you again, guy on the right gets you again. I mean, really, really good room if it's firing. And they get the timing down. And it all comes down to Vigo pushing you at the exact moment when all of them have set up for the next round of scares.
Yeah, and the scariest part of the house has nothing to do with the movie.
Not this movie. I mean, but Garaka looks good. The frozen room with the fireman and the eye patch guy, also very well done. Some great scares to be had. Garaka, him popping out of that little door chute, fucking great if he's there. As I said, this house would be higher. It could be a 2 or 3, really, if it was full consistently. We don't have that. And the finale is Janine screaming you out, and then you have Garaka at the end making it somewhat better. Number 5. Again, I mean, very movable. I've been having a great time in this house. They've been coming into their own, and they're having way more fun with it than they originally did, which is Triplets of Terror. They're getting more aggressive. They're comfortable with their spots. Again, a house with a lot of show scenes that they have to hit their triggers, and Junior is the only one that can really, move around. One of the middle child, the girl, there's one scene where she's standing in the room and has to wait for the trigger to go through 2 or 3 iterations, then she can finally move. That's just bad house design. And so far all the houses are pretty well made as far as pacing. Triplets of Terror suffers a little bit here due to some of those triggers and just how far away they're keeping the actors. When you're in the in between houses and you're at the outside portion, you have the one actor who's up the stairs and coming out of the door of the house, and they're so far away from you, it's hard to make an impact. After that, we're going to go with Monstros. This one is unfortunately detracted by my experience of the original in Hollywood last year. So much better. But you have those really good scares once you get past the baby stealer, because I think that's by far the weakest part of the house. You get to El Pucci, the bird, and the bird women, and then El Sabon. Super aggressive if they're there. Unfortunately, in the slaughterhouse, there's a lot of open areas, and they're trying to hide the actors behind the cut up pigs, which doesn't give them a full coverage. You can clearly see where they're coming from. Doesn't detract from the performance. It's just the house is not made super great in these particular rooms. The giant animatronic, super good. Bird shit smell, excellent. El Sabone, big giganto head puppet, best part of the house, of course. And then, yeah, you have Muerte Spirit Halloween decoration in there with no scare. And then you walk out, right? That's the finale of Monstros, is the Muerte puppet. Mm-hmm. Or Muerte animatronic. And Silbone, still super good. Moving on. What else do I got? I guess up next would probably be Slaughter Cinema. Super bad runs, inconsistent placement and house attendance of our performers. I haven't had anything super fun like YouTube had, where you got to see it. I think they're improving. I really love the Zyborgs. The concept's great. You got that really cool fucking machine as you're walking out of the house, and it's really cool to see. But they're stuck in their costumes. They're just large, and they get caught in their boo holes, and they can't maneuver. And that's your finale. Or no, sorry, the finale, you're walking out into like the lobby again, and they have a drop door. which we're left with not a whole lot of personal interaction. You're left with a pneumatic automatic drop door.
There's a scare actor in there.
You're behind the drop door?
No. The drop door's in front of you, then there's the scare actor on the right.
Oh, what character is that?
I don't even know, but there is someone in there.
Well, I can't recall them.
There's someone.
One someone in here. That was it. What, number 7? Number 8? Museum Deadly Exhibits. Again, it's mostly detracted by house design, pacing, and just so much of the same. A museum is not just monotone grays and browns. There's a lot going on, and especially with the museum you want to put together, which this is a fictional one, do whatever you want. We don't here. We do a lot of the same colors. All the rooms look very similar until you get to like the Viking room. And then
show me your throat.
The rotting stone is not doing what I thought it would do. And it's just kind of existing and putting goop everywhere. I think there's a lot of opportunity here, but the house does not the house they created and put together does not allow the performers to excel and really be what they want to be here, I think. Then Quiet Place, we said enough on it. It's because we're the wackos who go a lot, and I don't need to see can shaking man anymore. I've had my fill of him and his cans. And finally, where it belongs on everyone's list, Eternal Bloodlines. The house doesn't make sense. It's poorly paced, and the storyline is not coherent at all. There is a drained energy feeling, apathy. Something is just not clicking with the actors, and that may be due to the house. You don't understand your role. Why is my character here? It's also extremely poorly constructed, where you have in the caravan most of all for me. Not only is your hero, Saskia, always so far away from you and not interacting very well, she's always with the scene. She's grabbing her crossbow. She's in the caravan where the she-wolf kills Frankenstein's monster, and she's so far above you, it's hard to even see what she's doing or saying, and it's terrible for scares. And then it's over. It's really tough. That's a tough house to get, even as an actor, I would imagine. It's tough to be invested. It's tough to have a desire to want to put on a good show here. And I don't fault him for that. I fault the pacing and the creation of the house and the lack of a coherent or consistent storyline. And it really frustrates me, as Universal Monster Houses have been very well, or at least consistently in the top half of years past.
In the previous houses, am I wrong that it was just, so let's say there's 3 or 4 of the original OG monsters. They had sections of the house that were dedicated just to them, right? So Phantom, right? Last year.
Yeah, Phantom had a bunch of his stuff. You had the underground sewers where Jekyll and Hyde was chilling. Mm-hmm. You had the bell tower where Quasimodo Hunchback was. Yeah. I mean,
this year's different. This year's completely different the way that they approached it. They're all mixed kind of in the scenes, right? And I get it.
Well, they had that with Legends Collide, where the monsters were fighting each other. And then Bride of Frankenstein, she was capturing the monsters. Like, the storylines made sense. Yeah, it was convoluted last year, and then Legends Collide. It was convoluted to get all these guys in the same place. Like, especially last year, like, oh, this guy was on a boat, and here's all the monsters in France. And then you have Phantom and Hunchback, who are already there. And then finale of Eternal Bloodlines is the montage. I mean, yeah, everything is, you're being screamed out by a singular entity, or here's everything we have. It's good? Question mark. Yeah, I'm not huge on the finales either. Fish.
Well, it's not 10 on my list. The Eternal Bloodlines actors is not going to be 10 on my list the entire run. You have one person fighting for you all.
Clearly they have a lot of fans, since that house is consistently longer queue wait than Goblins. Every time. Every time for me, at least my anecdotal evidence, I see it that it's always a longer wait than Goblin's Feast.
If you're general public, it's a bigger draw. It makes more
Sure.
sense that you want to see Universal Monsters.
So.
Buh. I don't know how much more movement I will have on my list. I think it's really going to come down to Major Suites or Goblin's Feast for top this year. Which, hey, they're not in the echelon of years past where number one was a clear, like we said, clear cut winners. Bottom of the barrel is going to stay the same though. You will not see me in Quiet Place or Eternal Bloodlines as my last house this year.
Mm-mm.
If y'all did a head-to-head, because when I thought of it, I just feel like last year's event overall, just houses and streets, I thought it was stronger. But I feel like if I did a head-to-head, that I might be wrong. That 33 might actually win out. When I was going through kind of a house-by-house.
Well, my
with
memory's terrible. I know we had Last of Us last year and Bloodlines and Darkest Steel. I mean already there. Blood Moon and Darkest Steel. Better than any house we have this year.
Well, I really liked Oddfellow as well.
Oddfellow. I personal umbrage with Oddfellow is the incorporation of Jack, but otherwise, very good house.
So what was your last year's Blood Moon was your top? So if you had Blood Moon or Monstrose, Bren.
Between the two?
Yeah.
Oh, Blood Moon, hands down.
And Bill, you're Blood Moon.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm the only Monstrose. Exorcist or Quiet Place?
Exorcist. Better than the movie.
Stranger Things or Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters.
Was it Yeti or Insidious?
Insidious.
Ooh, Yeti.
Yeah.
You got the kid saying it's dead, and then he gets mauled.
It has a better sound
What
bites.
the hell are those things?
Okay, the sound bites win, but overall house, of course, Insidious.
I'm wrong. It was dragons.
Then
Insidious.
Insidious.
Dragons is
Insidious.
poo-poo.
So it was triplets or Yeti.
Oh, then Yeti.
Okay, and obviously Chucky and Sweets is Sweets.
Yeah. I'm not gonna pretend.
So Sprung Tent 1 and 2. So Darkest or Museum.
Darkest
Steel.
Museum. Unfortunate.
Oddfellow and Slaughter.
Oddfellow.
Yeah, Oddfellow for me. Bren, what about you?
I'd say Slaughter.
Yeah. And then let's say that it's Monsters versus Monsters, right? I know Parade's not in use.
Last year's Monsters.
And then Last of Us versus Goblins.
Goblins.
Yeah, I say Goblins.
I feel like y'all, I don't know.
Last year was better.
When we re-listen and run it back. But I feel like in your rankings, you picked more of this year. I don't know. We'll have to listen. We didn't do an official tally.
I did not pick more this year.
I don't know what it is that I felt like last year was so much better. But I don't know. I think if I do a head-to-head, I might go with this year. What about Streets?
I have no idea what Streets we had. What we had last year.
That's why you have Brennan. That's why you have Brennan and I to keep you honest. It was Zodiac. Oh, hold on, the first one, right? So the Oddfellow area or
Duality of Fear. Oh, Oddfellow area.
Oddfellow.
My God.
Demon Queens or Zodiac.
I haven't spent. I'll say I haven't spent a lot of time in the zones this year. I will say Zodiac was better though.
I like Demon Queens. I think the actors in it are great.
Demon Queens is better. The Swamp of the Undead versus whatever that
Immortality. Jungle of Doom.
They're the same to me, honestly.
Yeah, those zones are always very similar. I do like the water effects in Swamp of the Undead. It sucks for the actors; they're always wet every night, regardless. Now, but Jungle of Doom, scarier, more availability for the actors to maneuver, despite it being as tight as it is. And then you have Oddfellows saying immortality every 5 minutes. It's super good.
And then Blumhouse versus whatever that thing was over there with the bat and all that other. What was it called?
Oh, that was just what do we have in the warehouse? Here's Oddfellows tricks. That one because there's actual scares and not pure photo op.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vamp.
Torture Fair, way better than Vamp. Fair.
So I like the vibes of Vamp more because it was like a chill, kind of fun vibe. But for a scare zone, I like Torture more.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep. You're getting some good interactions in Torture Fair, Bren, from your videos that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Some real good stuff. They're remembering you. The Plague Doctor is like, yo,
Yeah, he talks to me every
fuck
time.
You up. You should not be.
Yeah.
Should not be talking to you. Should not be talking to you.
I have high expectations as a former plague doctor.
Not
carry
definitely not as
yourself
good. Not
as
as
a
good.
plague doctor. And I never talked, but I wasn't in the street, so.
I want to hear a little bit more about your scare acting real quick, as it reminded me with this egregious, terrible display of bad scare acting where they're talking to the guests.
Oh, I like it.
They're having fun.
No, banned. Get out.
I'm not complaining.
All right, no.
I like
Let me
it.
just hear. I already know your position, Brendan Fisher.
If you have a mask,
He has a mask.
is okay. I'm not judging the individual character. I'm saying just overarching. If you have a mask that covers your face where it's not meant that you are speaking, you should not speak. If you are airbrushed and opportunity, which the good amount of Vamp last year, a good amount of the Torture Fair folks this year would have more ability to improv and interact with the guests. That's what I was saying before.
That's fine. That's fine.
When I was the fake Treeks and Foons, I mean, that would talk about horrible morale. Like we were just thrown out there randomly and didn't make any sense. I was like, okay, I'm this weird. Treeks and Foons are not these deranged clowns, but we're not wearing the costume, so we're not true Treeks and Foons. They just threw us out there. I'm gonna have fun with it, and I'm gonna interact with the guests, and I'm gonna tell them that Nick Lachey's over there riding Rip Ride Rocket. I don't care. I want to just.
You weren't wearing a
entertain
mask
people.
for that one?
Airbrush. We weren't true Treeks and
God.
Foons, man.
Trash.
That when you ever want to hear my audition experience that year, it was the worst audition experience I've ever had, ever auditioning for Universal. So we can talk about that at some point, but yeah.
No, I think talking is fine. If you're not wearing a mask, feel free to talk. And if you're not beholden to an IP restriction, my umbrage comes from I've seen this many times, and I saw it again this year in Duality of Fear. Very minimal scare zone, right? It's just a bunch of people airbrushed with chainsaws. It's the first thing you see when you walk into the park if you're going through the main thoroughfare. One of the chainsaws is, doing the little come hither with their finger to a kid. And then, because the kid's scared, of course, it's a little kid, definitely less than 10 years old, is saying something and then fist bumps the kid, basically saying, it's okay, it's all fake, I'm not doing my job. And I am fucking tired of it. This is not a baby event. This is not just photo ops. This is not, it's okay, there's no fist bumps. Don't fist bump them. It should not be tolerated.
You're way too. Things have changed, Bill.
No!
Things have changed.
You want the red-faced demon fist bumping people in line?
No, but it's not the red face. It's different it's different based off
We've
character.
lost our scruples. We have no scruples.
I agree with you about photo op. I totally understand that. Stay in character. Don't just stand there and pose. I get that aspect of it, but they're also it's everyone's TikToking out there. Everyone's that's what it is at this point in the streets. That's what they have to deal with. So you have to adapt.
You don't stop moving. You keep scaring, and you'll be on the TikTok. You're not gonna. No one's gonna be famous here.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I shake with anger. I see you.
You're so judgmental.
He is. He really is.
When you've been going for a long time,
I get it,
and you have a very intimate relationship with the event, and you know how things should be done. It shakes me, and I don't know why they allow it.
I get it. I used to be like, that's exactly what I went in there with, because I always would be judgmental, but I just have more empathy at this point in what some of the areas have become and how society has changed and the expectations of people going in streets and what to expect. I get it in houses. I'm with you there. Obviously, don't break character, but it's going to be more willy-nilly.
If your character lends itself to it, like Vamp, Torture Fair, I can see it. There should be none of that in Duality of Fear, regardless of what this zone is. Demon Queens, definitely not. You're a demented, crazy thing, like deformed. You should not be fist bumping people.
I'm sure the parents appreciated it because they were probably like, "Oh shit, we just wasted $700, and my kid's not even going to go, and now we got to leave." So thank you to this.
See, there's the problem. There's the problem. I knew we'd get there. It's the parents. My dad took me when I was 10, and he made me go through. He didn't say it's okay. He didn't tell me fist bump somebody. He said, no, you're going in the house.
You were actually the
I
child.
paid big money.
You were actually the child in the stroller.
No, not when I'm 10.
Jack the Clown was terrifying, and I can't find that photo anywhere. They've scrubbed it off of the internet. Find the photo of Jack scaring the bejesus out of a child in a stroller, and the kid, it's a baby.
That's what I want. That's what I want. I
It-
want more of that. I want to see, like in Forsaken, the guy, he popped out of the thing and scared the person holding their baby, and they dropped their baby because it's a bad parent.
Okay, well, let's not want that.
Oh, I want that energy. I don't need to see it happen ever again because it was awful, but I want to feel that. All right. Fisher, you mentioned you've gotten Scareactor of the Year twice. What were those? What were those roles?
Jesus. Treeks and Foons. Like I said, fake Treeks and Foons.
You got Scareactor of the Year for fake Foons?
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, was I a Treek or was I a Foon? What's the male? I don't know. One of the two.
Are they gender based?
Yes.
Oh, I don't
believe.
know the lore. I don't know. I
said,
saw
we
the
were
original Treeks and Foons in 02. I remember that.
You do realize why that zone got dropped there was because there were no scare zones that year. There was the Carnival, I believe, out in New York, but there was a huge lack of scare zones that year. It was Carnival of Carnage, if I'm thinking correctly. Jack
in 07?
17, yeah. So
2007.
HHN 17. I'm sorry, I go by.
Yes.
I never line up.
Interchangeable. It's fine.
I think there were complaints about lack of scare zones, so they just dropped us out in Trek Alley.
No, God, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. Well, no one really came through that area that often.
Oh, we talking about the amazing Night Maze Scare Zone? Oh, God, so good.
And then HHN 20 for Catacombs.
That's well deserved. That house jammed.
Plague Doctor.
Plague Doctor.
Doesn't get enough love on the folks documenting HHN. There was a whole cult of people.
There was the cats and combs.
Yes.
The spoons. Your house got in so much trouble. Because the fan base, you had the rabid fans, and they got you in big trouble. And then you were part of it, or maybe not you specifically, but your cast was playing with spoons.
I never took a spoon. Let's not talk about that. I got Scareactor of the Year that year. If you're in the HHN community, give that house some damn love. It was such a good house. Anyway.
And before we hit our voicemail, you mentioned also your worst audition experience, and I think that.
Oh, jeez. You have to make me relive this. Okay.
Well, you mentioned it. I want to hear it.
How do they audition this year? Is it virtual? I don't know how they audition anymore.
You have to submit a video where you state your name, your height, and usually your favorite scary movie, and then you spin in a circle with your arms at 45-degree angles so they can see your body. Then they will call you in if they like you enough, which, hell, the only reason you don't get cast for Hard Nights anymore is availability, usually. Then if they say, okay, they'll take you in, and then they'll do like the old, maybe not like yours, but the old style audition where you stand in a line, you take a step forward, say your name, and then your favorite house, and you step back. And that's purely to see if you can follow direction.
Correct. And body type, right?
And body type. And they want to see it, make sure this isn't an old video and you didn't, blow up in a week.
I don't know if we talked improv or SAC on mic or off mic before the show started, but that always was on my resume. You go in person, exactly what you stated, Bill, is you're in a line of people. I think they bring like 30 to 40 in at a time. You're all lined up, step forward, state, your name, and then your favorite scary movie or your favorite house or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're eyeing you, right? And they pick you for a particular role, or they have a spot for you. I think that's how they determine. And they say, hey, listen, this guy, come back. We want you to come back and audition to be a carnival barker. So I got called aside. Money. Yeah, there you go. So I got called aside. I'm like, how do I do this? I've never done this before. They're like, you need to do a monologue. And I that's not me. You don't have one in the chamber. Yeah. No, I don't. So I had to prepare. So there was a 1930s movie that had a carnival barker. I think it was called Freaks. And
excellent film.
Okay, so I tried to memorize that, and I go in, and it's all Bill and Ted actors, and people audition, and they're singing. They have a piano accompanist,
Oh my
in the
God.
room with them.
Oh my God.
And and I hear these people because they're just keeping us out in the hallway, and there's 3 or 4 in our group, and they're all singing. And I'm like, oh shit, what the hell am I gonna do? And it's the really big wig casting directors. It's the show directors, the people that you see on YouTube, and all the people who
the podcasts.
There you go. And I walked in and I said, hi, I'm gonna sing Whitney Houston Greatest Love of All. and then that got a good laugh, and then I started doing it, and I froze. I forgot my line. I didn't know what to do.
Left your head.
Because I'm in there by myself, and they're like, you can utilize the space, try again. And I bombed. I completely bombed. So then I'm in a situation where, well, I just went to get a normal role. I just wanted to be a scare actor. I had a great time in HA16. I just came back to be a scare actor. Just cast me to I just bombed. Well, hold on. We want you to come and be this actor A. And they had carnival barkers right as you were walking into the park. That's the role. I know the guy who got the role better than me. No. And I was like, okay, now I didn't get that. I know I bombed that. So am I just not cast at all this year? And I didn't get a call. And then I got a call on a weekend, and they said, hey, we're adding this. We're going to throw you out here. You're going to be in the streets. Goodness. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm so unsure of going into it. Did I get a scare actor role? I don't think so. I obviously am not going to get the actor role. So now I'm not going to get anything. And I'm like, that just sucks. But yeah, it was so embarrassing. So freaking embarrassing. I'm not good in that area. Scripted stuff. Just let me improv off the cuff. I cannot remember lines.
And that's all you would be doing if you had the Barker role, is you have some direction, but you're just ad-libbing the entire time. You're improving. Yeah, so a lot of those are tough.
Yeah, so think of it as like a sinister, surreal type role or an Oddfellow role. It's like not icon based, but you're on mic.
Well, that's a full script. There's no improv at all in those ones.
Yep. So that was my failed.
Oh my God.
Audition experience.
I'm sure you were great.
We got Scareactor of the Year
this day. I did that year. Yep. In a zone that everybody hated. No one even acknowledges it. So all
did they even have the foam? I can't remember there being foam in there for you.
Nope. There was nothing. We had nothing. Nothing.
Jesus.
These goofy neon costumes, airbrushed, and we were like, oh, this street, like we don't really care about this street, so just like rush the airbrush. They're not truly, deserving of it. My streets were always odd. Like Horror Comes Home, which was a fantastic street for Sweet 16.
They
don't even recognize it as a street, and all of the iconic characters. Unofficial scare zone. And here now you're in this one that we just made up. I'm like, oh wow. And then here now you're a roaming horde. That was fun. But anyway, that's when we could really have fun. But anyway, I don't want to take too much time on your show. There you go.
No. I think once we get the ratings and we get the Nielsen numbers, we might have you back.
Yeah, no, I've been out of the spotlight too long.
And a really small world thing that I just want to throw out there that's just so weird. Fisher and Bill's dad were scare actors at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
We were on the same cast, I believe.
That's so odd.
He recalls a group of foreign travelers surrounding you all, and then one of you, may have been him, may have been you, got picked up by said group of foreign travelers and paraded about 5 feet down the street.
Really?
Yeah. I think
that wasn't me.
I guess it was him, because he's saying to you, I remember him coming in home one night. He's like, "Yep, these guys picked me up." I said, "Oh,
that's
shit,
scary." We're back.
So we won't go into this. I don't. If I ever go back, I don't want to be blacklisted. But you could get away with a lot more on the streets than what you can. That was the year that there's no off limits
except the bathroom.
You're in. Oh, well, okay.
I know people went in there. I know people went in there. Not you.
Of course not me.
No.
Maybe Finnegan.
Yes.
But you're in Starbucks. You're everywhere. It just the Men in Black gift shop. We're in there. We're everywhere.
Good.
You can't escape. That was crazy. I mean, obviously, there's no way
I would think it'd still do that.
Yeah. I mean, I there's got to be photos out there of us in Finnegan's, and I would jumping up on the park benches in New York area and just going crazy.
Oh my God.
Fun times.
Yeah, that was a good year. A lot of fun.
That's where we walked uphill both ways to set.
Oh, Super good stuff. Well, definitely a lot more stories you got locked and loaded. We'll have to take them another time as we're coming up on the hour of the back half of the show. We do have a voicemail from our good buddy Cole Carboner, and he's a longtime friend of mine. He's never met Brennan because he lives up in New York. Big fancy director now. If you're a listener to previous shows, Fisher and I have been on, maybe he had the blowjob bench story. We'll have to get him on here and retell that.
He was your intern.
He was my intern, yeah.
Now he's making movies, and he's got Kevin Smith in his cell phone.
Yeah, I know. Number one. So if you have a voicemail as well, we're going to play Cole's here in a moment. If you have a voicemail, 407-490-2220, whatever you want to talk about. You want to talk about Horror Nights, theme parks, your park visits, a story you had at a theme park or Horror Nights, or you just have a question for the show. Love to hear it. Send us a voicemail or text. All right, let's see what Cole has for us today.
Hey guys, it's me, Cole Carbone. Remember me? Yes, I'm back, and I'm busy. I don't have much to say. I just wanted to say, put me in the show. Put me in the show.
Oh, there you go.
Put me in the fucking show. Thank you. Goodbye.
Wow. Well,
he's on the show. We give them. We're people of the people. We give them what they want.
Well, that was a quality.
Cole,
thank you.
Thank
Cole.
you so much. We miss you. And we're, Dave and I were trying to plan out September, October, and have guests on every week to talk about Horror Nights and their experiences, and clearly didn't happen. Scheduling is tough when everyone's working and Dave is trying to keep the hurricanes away by shooting them with his gun.
Yeah, there's a famous line about the last voicemail caller. Have you heard it? It was let's see if I can quote it from a legend who said this about Cole. Down by Universal, walking down the street, there was a guy getting oral. It made Cole beat his meat.
Oh boy! Wow.
True story. What? Now you're in the show, Cole.
Hey, put me in the show.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Come on, man.
Oh. God, I miss you, buddy. Hopefully he'll make it down here for the wedding. And that's it. We're done.
And on that note.
Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate your patronage. Again, 407-490-2220 at Park Talk Radio. Check out the TikToks. The talks are ticking, and Brennan is killing it. Instagram for all your other posts and show drops. And we hope to have Fisher on again, buddy. Thank you so much for joining us. You got anything to plug?
No, but thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. I've been wanting to get back and talk about HHN, so I appreciate it. Go give some love to Demon Queens when you're out there, people, and just enjoy, because they're doing a hell of a job. So shout out to Demon Queens.
Well said. Thank you, Fish. Thank you, Brennan. Thank you, listeners. Have a great time. Be safe. We'll see you in the park.